welcome to another unboxing from Pushing Cardboard. I'm Grant Lindeberg, and today we're going to take a look at North Africa 41 from GMT Games and Mark Simonitch. This is Mark's latest game in what they call the 40X series, or the Zockbon series, whatever you want to call it. I'm actually not sure that this game actually has Zockbons in it like the rest of the 40X series, but we shall see. I've been waiting for this for quite a while. If you've been into gaming for a while, you might remember this one. This is The Legend Begins, which was another Mark Simonitch design, and it's a 40 to 42, so it's a bit longer of a time frame. But this was Mark Simonitch's previous go at the North Africa campaign in World War II, and I just love this game. I thought it was terrific. So I'm totally excited to see what he does 20 or 30 years later with all the Zockbon games under his belt now. This is the latest in his series, as I said, your standard GMT box. They rate it as a complexity 5, solitaire suitability 5, playable in 3 to 12 hours. So that 12 hours, I guess, would be the full campaign rating, but I suppose your mileage may vary. Well, let's get into the box and see what this new game looks like. I mean, the great thing about Mark Simonitch games is always the fact that, as well as a game designer, he's up until recently, very recently, he was the head of the art department at GMT. So you were getting a designer who did a lot of his own graphics as well. Certainly had final say over them in the way that a regular designer doesn't always. Okay, what do we have in the box here? North Africa 41 rules of play. Nice matte finish rule book. Looks very much in the style you're used to with GMT rule books. The rule book, there's an index on the back, which is great. It's a 28-page rule book. Looks like there's 1, 2, 3 scenarios at the back. And yeah, this will be very familiar looking rule book to anybody who's played any of the other Mark Simonitch GMT games. Then, like most modern GMT games, we have a playbook. This is a 20-page document, extended example of play. Great way to learn a game. Following along, you can set it up if you want, and then follow along with the extended example of play. Oh, and then here we have a bunch of design notes. Oh, and he says, this is a complete redo of my old design, The Legend Begins, first published 32 years ago by Rhino Games. So I guess I was on the right track when I pulled out The Legend Begins there. Some historical notes. A bibliography, that's great. Oh, and a nice little piece on the tanks. Oh, great. That takes me back to my old days. My very first war game was Tobruk from Avalon Hill, and it was all these tanks. So that's great. So there we go, the playbook as we're used to seeing from GMT. Combat results table. We've got determined defense, like most of his games have these days. We've got a couple of event tables, shipping tables, and a terrain effects chart, and then a second copy for player number 2. Allied setup and reinforcements. That's probably probably for the different scenarios. Probably this is for Crusader. This is probably for the whole shebang. Axis Crusader setup, and regular axis setup. And here we have the first of the counters. These look pretty familiar to players of this system. We have the infantry counters using the NATO type symbols, but the armored units using the vehicle silhouettes with lots of color. But the numbers on the bottom, the important part, are nice and big and bold and easy to make out. Here's the back side. Most of the counters are double-sided, but not all, as we can see here. Second sheet of counters. This is more markers, something about British available assets and Axis available assets here. And finally, we have the maps. Comes with a paper map. Let's show you this briefly. There's how far? I can't. I'm a little close, so you won't be able to see the whole thing. I'll zoom right in so you can see a bit of the map in detail, maybe. There's the turn track up at the top, as often is on these games. Shows you the reinforcements and whatnot. Anyway, that's one page of the map, and here's the other page. And so these maps are going to go side by side. Going to be your typical western desert. But there was an option to order mounted maps, which I did. So just because I just happen to have them, I'll grab one out. And I never buy mounted maps, but I'm such a fan of World War II Western Desert games, and I knew I loved The Legend Begins. So in this case, I did buy the mounted map, and they're looking beautiful. I'm going to have to put a leaf in my table to make it long enough, but there we have it. That's what the mounted map looks like. Obviously, just the same as the paper maps, but nice and thick and durable, and that's it. That's North Africa 41 from Mark Simonitch and GMT Games. I can't wait to break this one open and get it on the table and see if I like it as much as The Legend Begins. I'm sure I will. You've been listening to Grant Linneberg and Pushing Cardboard. Thanks for checking it out.